Marlins podcast. David Winker, Tommy Stitt. So let's talk about this crazy weekend of baseball.
It was a crazy Marlins weekend.
So we went Saturday to Jupiter. We got rained on. We took a crazy man with us.
Bob Powers, those who watch community newspapers, Bob Powers, I think it was the first baseball game he's ever been to.
I think so. And then what made it worse was that he wore the other team's colors. Like, who does that?
It was so funny to say that.
Blazing red jacket
he had the
on.
brightest red jacket.
No, it looked like a fire truck.
And it was like so form-fitting.
Yes,
it
was
like a
tight.
European soccer coach. You could see every crevice of his body.
Yeah, which is gross, actually. who even thinks about it?
I don't know.
That?
Bob looks pretty good.
So we lost that game. Well, it got called.
After 6.
Yep, it got called. So they went to the first out of the 7th, and they rolled up the, unrolled the tarps, covered the field, and that was it.
And then it was interesting because we had a buddy that had gone to, Mike Repkowski had gone to the Mets game. I can't remember who the Mets were playing that day.
No idea. Well, it had to be one of the other.
Exactly. Yeah, we can guess who it would be.
Right.
And they did the exact same thing. They got through 6, called the game.
Wow. Did they win? I don't think they won, did they?
I think Mets lost.
Huh. Well, Marlins still have the best record in cactus or grapefruit.
Well, they finished. They tied Sunday.
Yeah. So that's a 0. Yeah.
Yep.
So they're still 4-1.
Yep.
Today going against St. Louis. Interesting fact: the pitcher for St. Louis has, I think, the highest ERA I've ever seen. 45.
45.
Yeah.
I was trying to think. I saw that, and I was trying to think of the last time I've seen an ERA that high. That's like a high school. Something you'd see like.
That's huge. I can't remember one that big. Well, so International Women's Day. Let me say something about.
Well, let me get my wife in here.
Okay.
Get in here, because we want to talk to you. Come back here. We want to talk baseball with you. Keep going, Tom.
There you go.
You got to stand here.
So, surprise guest, hopefully on Wednesday, is going to be Kelly Sacco from Fox Sports Florida, who called one of the games last week, actually.
Yep.
So that's going to be awesome.
And she played softball at Syracuse, I think.
She did, and
she was great.
She's a baller.
I got to tell you something. It was so interesting talking to her. We were talking earlier. This is my wife, Christina Hernandez.
Hello.
Who's a big baseball fan.
I enjoy going to baseball.
Who's your favorite team?
Houston Astros.
Blah blah blah.
Miami Marlins.
Ah, yes. The reason I bring
dual citizenship.
Today's International Women's Day.
Yeah.
And you just did a show celebrating women, and we're going to celebrate women a little bit here because I don't think a team has embraced female leadership like the Marlins has.
I know that's something to highlight and really talk about.
Yeah.
I was really impressed with one of the women you had on your show.
Christina Di Nicola.
Yes, I need to have her. And by the way, my show is all about celebrating women and women's
every week.
Every
day.
Right.
Every day we're hustling. So yeah, I gotta have her on my show, and people gotta learn more. Those are women that we gotta learn from because they're breaking the mold.
They're breaking it, and I want to talk about that because what's her name again? That was
Kelly Sacco.
Kelly was talking about, and I've done this myself. She was a pitcher at Syracuse, and she was talking about pitching. And my wife knows I'm a big softball fan. And I have an 8-year-old daughter. I'm hoping she plays softball. But the boys love hitting against the softball hitters because the ball moves because it's underhand.
Mm-hmm.
It's all different, and it's fun. It's fun to go out and hit against the girls. And she was talking about at Syracuse, the boys would always come over and, they'd interact and they'd do stuff together. And she was always saying how with sidewinders, we love our sidewinders.
Yeah.
How they would always come talk to her because they would love her movement on the pitches.
Mm-hmm.
So they would talk to the girls because if your approach is below horizontal,
right,
it was, because the girls know more about hand positions because they throw every pitch underhand.
Right.
So I thought it was an interesting thing.
What's crazy is a baseball podcast, our first 2 guests are actually women.
Yeah.
And we're hoping to get Kim Ng to come on a Zoom call.
And explain who Kim Ng is. Let me back. When you heard Kim Ng was the general manager, talk about your reaction.
It's you feel pride. You feel like that's so cool. Like I want to follow more Miami Marlins. I already enjoy going to Marlin games. It just makes me all the more, what's the word I want to use?
Bought in?
Bought in, yeah. To their whole thing, because they're really embracing, and these aren't traditional roles for women. I always chuckle whenever you point out the negative comments that other people make, when men typically make whenever they see a female sports reporter, and it hurts. And some of them are so intelligent and give such great analysis. I love hearing like how they explain things, but the men sometimes don't like that. And
now, believe me, if she doesn't perform in that role, she's going to take a lot of heat.
Yeah,
big time.
Yeah,
but Christina brings it, and these women, they're pioneers. So to get to this position, I mean, I hate to say it,
even when
they had to be 10 times better than the boys to get to where they are.
That's right.
Because when I saw Christina Di Nicola talk on y'all's show, I mean, that girl was just like,
she's forgotten more baseball than I know.
Exactly.
And I know a lot.
I'm like, how does she know so much about this game?
It was like,
but she eats and breathes it every day. Like,
we're on team Christina Di Nicola. We loved her
100%.
Before you leave, the last thing before you leave, it was interesting because we're in a group chat with my wife's from Houston, and we're on a group chat with all the Houston fans. They're all huge Astros fans.
Yes.
And I got to tell you something. I loved the reaction of all the women. They're, all your friends in Texas are huge sports fans.
Yes.
Football and Aggies football and Houston Astros. And they were all like, yeah, go Marlins. Like they were so excited. Like the women really did notice this.
Yeah, I think it's cool.
Awesome. Thank you.
Super cool.
Go Marlins. Go Mainline Marlins.
There you go. So today against St. Louis, I'm going to just go through the lineup quickly because I know there's another show coming right after this. Starting in center field, leading off, Starling Marte. Second, Corey Dickerson playing in left. Jesus Aguilar, don't mess with the Jesus, playing first. Garrett Cooper, who came through strong yesterday or the other day, looked pretty good. And man, he's got to get that bat back. Batting in the cleanup spot, DHing. Brian Anderson at third. Adam Duvall in right. Isan Diaz, him and Jazz Chisholm battling for that spot.
Yeah.
That's going to go down to the wire, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, both those guys are playing really well. Miguel Rojas, disappointing error the other day.
Did he have two or the only one?
I think just one.
Yeah.
And then Chad Wallach catching.
Yep.
And then we're pitching Eliezer Hernandez.
Yep.
Against the guy that's got a 45 ERA. So we should be all right. There we go.
Well, going to Jupiter, I got to tell you guys, was our first trip of the year. And it was just a great experience. It wasn't too
The beers were cheaper.
Were they
FYI,
really?
Yeah. So the other place, the ballparks at Palm Beach, is $14 for an IPA. At Jupiter Roger Dean, it was like $9.50.
Really?
Yeah. Still extreme, but
it's interesting because Roger Dean to me has more of it's a smaller feel. I like West Palm because I like when you can walk the outfield. Like I like being able to do a circle in the stadium. And that's the one thing you can't do at Jupiter, but Jupiter does have kind of more of an old school feeling to it. It's a little less developed.
Right. But it's still pretty cool.
Oh no, it's awesome.
It's obviously that other ballpark is way nicer.
Well, the thing is, what I like about Jupiter is if you sit on the first base or third base line, like you sat on the first base line, I sat on the third base line, and you're right on top of I love seeing the bullpen.
Yeah. And I took a bunch of really cool pictures of Danny Castano when he was warming up, although he didn't perform that well.
I saw you taking those pictures. I mean, you were on top of him. Like, it's like, you're right there.
I walked all the way down to the little chain, and then I snapped it right there, and it looked like I was standing right next to him.
Yeah, you look like you're
pretty awesome. I do have to say something about this Jonathan Villar character that likes to tag people with no ball in the glove. I'm glad we got rid of that guy.
I like,
and he hurt us. Hit that bomb too. So
it's the old baseball saying, right? It's like baseball and NASCAR. If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying.
Right. Pretty much.
That was a pretty good cheat.
Yeah, pretty good. And if it was a regular season game, they would have reversed that, obviously. But it's not. The competition level isn't the same. And that's why you get ties. That's why you get games called, for weather and not, waiting it out or whatever. So think today's going to be a good one. Can't wait. 105 start for the Marlins. So
all right, tune in.
Yep, and we'll be back tomorrow, and hopefully I'm going to hear back from Kelly. I sent her a link to the stream to be able to pop on, and then we'll see how that's going to be an awesome interview. I'm looking forward to it. All right, episode 15, Mainline Marlins is in the books.